Hey guys, Sam back with you here on Wednesday, October 24th, midday, and also by request from our members is a look at STRAT. So I've got STRAT to Bitcoin. This is on Binance. We're getting a little kick down here. So if you're not familiar with STRAT, this always, as I recommend, is I used to look at CoinGecko a lot, but I've come to prefer this site. This is Coin Checkup. Similar idea, and then we can dig in. You can do your own research on some of the fundamental stories behind a coin. So if you're not familiar with STRAT, it's definitely worth digging into here. So you can see here now we're, as with most alts, they've been pinned into the strong sell, and we're starting to get some life of that. Still, technically, we would have this as a sell. Algo score is not bad. It's not great. I like them 4 or higher. 3.65 out of 5. Not bad. Not bad. Very strong product. So there. So why is it kicking? What's causing this? Well, there's been some news. So if you can always go right over here. What news? Okay, so we'll get their Twitter feed, and we can see it's the Microsoft news. So they've done become a Microsoft partner, and they're doing some sort of a strategic relationship with Microsoft. I'll let you dig into the details there if you're interested. What could, as traders, right? So that may be interesting to you. You might be curious about that. But if we think about how it relates to what's happening in the chart, and is there any opportunity? Well, that could be what's sparking this. So if we look at here's a 4-hour, we can make a pretty strong case that we've got some sort of a 3-wave correction that potentially now has completed down here, although we're pretty much flatlining here. Here's the lowest low, and it's been tapped. Now these are slightly higher lows, so maybe we got something started there. So if what people are interested in is what's happening on the hard right edge. So, first thought I have is, are we done here? Well, we can get a completed 535. So we can get a nice. Got to allow for the A, the B, and the C here. It works. Now, the B wave is shallow relative to the length of the A. We don't even make the 38. So coming down here, there's really no other way to count it with your Elliott Wave hat on. But let's go down to we'll take it to the hourly. This is what people are interested in. So let's see how we're looking over here. So, coming off of that low, boy, kind of hard. Is there a good Elliott count there? Can you put one on there? Yeah. Is it going to help you much? Not likely. So I thought this is a good example of where we can use some of the other tools that we've gone through over the last couple of days. For those of you that dug into those training videos on the GAN methodology, we can look here and say, well, since I don't really have much of an Elliott count here, even on an hourly, really, you can think of it this way. What have we got? Right? We could just draw this right here. We've just got a channel going sideways. So, until we break out of that, so that's one way to look at it, to simplify. And then, as I was showing went through this the other day, can we get a range on this? So if I just look here at my absolute low, well, where's the first little pivot that I have to work with here is right here. Here's my little pivot. Here's the 50. So you see we do. Let me zoom in here so you can see this a little bit better. Hopefully that's better. All right, so here's the low. Here's the first pivot that I have to work with here. First pivot right here. Look what we do. We come from that pivot down to the 50. We come up and we tag the 100, right? So we have potentially we have the range of the market. So here's the low. Here's my 100%. Here's 200. Now we're tagging into that second 200 yet again. And you can see it's been rejected. So not unreasonable to say I have the range of the market. Now, one thought is, since I've gone from my first pivot and I've been very technical here, right at my 100, that I can now expand the range. So I can go here and say, do I have the new range of the market? Well, it's a little sloppy down here as we have the 50 hasn't held. But if I go from here now and I get to my negative 50, looks like I've got decent range here. So this clearly has become a point of resistance. If we're going to come back down, looks like potentially now that's there to offer potentially. Now it's just potential support. So if we just take this, wicking this off, recognizing that if we go all the way back here, we're going to have this pivot as potential support. Pardon me, prior resistance now offering potentially now some support. So hard to, I think it's a force fit if you're trying to get an Elliott count on this and try and do some sort of a Oh shit, I guess you can get some sort of a diagonal on there, but it's you might as well be rolling dice. There's no clear count there. We're just going sideways, right? But we've had this spark of news that's caused us to kick up here and challenge this previous pivot. All right, so well, okay, let me put it this way. I certainly wouldn't be a buyer running right into that resistance. Now, if we come back down, so even if we try and range it off of this low, if we come back down to that 50, well, maybe, right? So I just think it's too early, right? So we get a little move like this, and everybody gets excited. Maybe crypto's on the move again. Well, there's not enough here yet. All we've got is a range, and we're not moving. I mean, yeah, maybe 1, 2, maybe you've got something started here, but until we get through some of these, of course, we're going to have just a wall of resistance to get through on the way back up. So we could, well, let me go to a 2 hour. All right, so we have to break through some of those key levels. So first up, right, will be right here. Can we get through that 50? So let me get traditional back on here. So bear with me a second. Okay, so can we get through this 50? So note here, the green line, that's the expanded range. So if I'm taking my range here, here's my range here, there's 100% of it. So let me zoom a little bit more. Okay, so swing high, swing low. Here's our first pivot when we're establishing the range. Okay, so note the negative 100, which would be doubling this initial range. Let me take that off of there. Which would be doubling this initial range. Right here, so we're going to run into that. So potentially that's resistance. We've got the 50 here. So before we can get terribly excited about something happening, first thing we got to do is we got to break this 65. That will help, of course. So that if we can get through that, right, then we've got this additional resistance that we're going to fight through as we come trying to challenge this prior pivot. Right now, there's no. Yeah, I can go down to a 15-minute and probably fire up a count on that, but I think that's a bit of that's hopium, right? So right now, let's get out of this range. No reason to chase this here. Yeah, okay, great. It's been down to sideways for 10 months, and we've got a little spark. But is that enough to start buying aggressively? It's not for me, right? And I'm a long-term bull on Strat. Love the project, but there's not enough here yet. All we've done is when we do this, September 18th. So little over a month ago, we were back here challenging this prior pivot. So again, you don't have to get complicated about this. How about some prior support here, potentially kicking in for resistance? All of that sitting there right on top of that. We're going to go from our dominant pivot down here. So we've got a pretty good cluster up here. So then we'd have the negative 150, the structural resistance, structural support potentially offering that resistance if we're going to kick up. Well, that's not what I want. If we're going to kick from this level and we're going to get up to the minus 150, well, we got to deal with that algo pressure. We know that there'll be participation. It'll start here. It'll continue here. Now, if we get through that and then start a retracement, then maybe we got something to work with. Until then, it's sure it's better than the same thing going down, right? I mean, I'm not sorry to see that, but I certainly wouldn't be, oh shit, it's on the move, time to start buying. It's just that's hopium. There's no reason to do it because wherever it pivots, let's say we break this pivot and we get up here and we're challenged to 50, right? So there'll be some sort of a retracement. Maybe we come back down to the range low, right? That is the tendency. That's the whole idea of identifying this range, is that the market tends to move, again, would describe it harmonically. So if we, wrong one, sorry. Let me get this back. So if we just identify the range here, you got to switch tools. If this is our range, let me get back to the wolf. All right. So if this is our range, if we're going to push up here and we're going to tag this, the expectation is that these will continue to be support and resistance. Right, if I range the whole thing, so you can see what I mean. I'll go back to the 4 hour. You get the idea here. So let me reset. All right, let's try and range the market from the pivot on the top side. So let's take that off. All right, so first can I range the market? All right, from here, what's the first little thing I get? Is it right there? I'm gonna have to blow that up to see it. Get rid of that. All right, so let's come down here. Where's my first little pivot? Yeah, I got this right here. So here, well, let me get it right on there. All right, so there's the initial range. Here's the 100. Not bad, right? So it looks, so I can look there and say, do I have the range? Do I have the range? Or do I need to keep going? Let me scrunch this up so you can see a little bit better. Right, so the idea, as Gandhi would describe it, is that the market would move harmonically through these levels. Well, we've gone below the minus 300. So I might come down to the next significant pivot and say, do I have the range? Is that the range? All right, here's my first little pivot. Maybe I need to go down to my 1. I think it's here, actually, based on what I see here. So here's the initial range. Here, the range expansion. So here, minus 50, minus 100, minus 150. Is that the range of the market? Pretty good here. Now we're a little wobbly around the minus 150. So if we open that up, that's going to look like it's more volatility around that level. But we've just established this lower range. So same idea. Put it all together. Is this my new range? All right, so right now I got to break out of that, and so far all we've done to come up, and we're going to challenge that, but a lot has to happen for me to get out of this range. So where's the next target on the larger degree? If we're going to go up to stay in this range, we're going to be targeting the negative 100. Right, so we've got, look at this confluence we get here. So we've got the negative 100 and the negative 200 off of this range. So here's the negative 100 from the larger range. We're bumping into the negative 200 from the potential new range that we've established. All right, so the idea is we might ping pong from these levels. So if we did something like that, came back up here, maybe then we can lean into potentially a motive wave, which we would anticipate, right? So if that were to complete there, we can just use our wolf tool. So if we come down here, if we get that high, we'll just get a new range. Here's the next 50, next minus 150, next 100, right? So minimum requirement would be we'd come from here and we'd do something like this. Maybe that's the new range. All right, we'll see. But right now, yeah, that's okay. Good. Good. It's a start, right? Something. It has to start somewhere. Let's first get out of this initial range. Can we do that? Right? We're not even close to that yet. Right? Let's see if we can get out of this lower channel that we're in. If we can, then maybe something starts. Then maybe you look at the second, establishing a new range. First 50 might be something to look at. Until then, I wouldn't be a buyer there, right? So no need to. Why are you trying to pick the turn? Let this thing show its hand. Are we going to have real strength here? Can we get through all of this? Again, you're going to have this one. You're going to have so much structural resistance to get through. A lot has to happen here. Too soon to be loading up there, but it's better than going the opposite direction, right? If you're bullish, I guess. Okay, guys, that's what I see there. Hurry up and wait. Let's see if that gets a little more traction. All right, that's it for now. Back to you with